Now, the 9th annual Africa Energy Indaba starts next week from the 21st to the 22nd. Global and regional industry leaders will gather to reflect on opportunities in this field. Governments will also be represented in the form of African energy ministers and policymakers. We have in our studios here an organizer and a legislator. But just before we chat to them, let's take a look at this piece produced by our Morning Live producer, Desiree Chauke.
Swiss company ABB operates in more than 100 countries and employs 130,000 employees producing products like medium voltage switchgear, high voltage protection, rectifiers, AC machines, engineering and service operations. Its South African operations are in Cape Town, Port Elizabeth and Durban, with a strong presence in the Southern Africa region in countries like Angola and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
We are structured in 5 divisions, and that is mapped throughout the world. So it differs from market to market. You'll find that perhaps, if I may use an example, in South Africa we don't have a lot of customers in the robotics sector, and in Europe you'll find that robots are used a lot in manufacturing. So those are just small differences here and there. But our main focus or one of our core business is energy for utilities, which is like your municipalities, your ESCOMs, and for mining sectors or other industries.
The South African office is headquartered here in Longmeadow, Johannesburg. This property is designed to showcase their capabilities using the very innovations they market to their clients to run their own operations. The plant is powered by these solar panels on the roof, which transfer power to what ABB calls the microgrid technology. This apparent industry first doesn't only collect energy, it also stores it for future use, especially in those extended winter days or in times of power shortages.
We have the PV on the roof, we have the diesel generators in this room, and the two cannot work together on an isolated island in a sustainable way. So what we have done with our microgrid power store solution is that we introduce an element of storage into the system. We have a battery system that provides some power storage, which immediately when we lose connection will take over and supply the whole building. System, which is the microgrid plus, and here's one of the units of that microgrid plus control system. And the software, these units talk to each other, and the software amongst itself decides what's happening, sees what's happening from the roof. We'll, after a while, after running a battery, we'll start up the generators. We'll use the generators to supply what the roof cannot supply, and even charge the battery a bit, but the battery remains as a buffer. And these controllers between them talk to each other and manage the whole power flow between the roof, the diesel generators and the battery. And at the end of the day, their purpose is to keep the power supply reliable and continuously on. And at the end of the day, the end users don't even know or see what is happening.
They just have energy.
They just have lights.
ABB and other companies like it, engaged in the production of energy solutions, will be the ones taking part in the 9th Africa Energy Indaba in Sandton next week.
Everybody talks about lack of energy. There's a lot of boom insofar as industries are concerned, and energy forms the bedrock of development and growth of the economy. So there is a need to focus on ensuring that countries have got sufficient energy to actually develop themselves. So the focus of Energy Indaba is to bring those kind of conversations to the table to say what are the challenges and what do we do. When you look at Africa as a continent, we've got the sun. It's shining so hard on my face right now, and it shines all the time. And I think the advent of renewables is something that the continent needs to embrace and utilize it to its full capacity.
So, as once again participants converge from all over the world to talk about the opportunities in this complex industry, the key question remains, when will this translate into affordable access for consumers of energy? For Morning Live, I'm Desiree Chauke.
All right, let's now get some perspective on some of the contribution of energy into our economy. We're joined in our studios in Johannesburg by one of the founders of the Africa Energy Indaba, Hart, as well as Chief Executive Officer of the South African Electrotechnical Export Council, Chiboni Evans. Ladies, good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming through. Liz, the conference is, or rather the Energy Indaba is the first conference on the continent to launch an event of this nature, promoting and empowering women in the energy sector. How has things been in the past?
I think women have been left out a little bit in the energy sector, and they're very keen to join the energy sector because if you look in rural communities, women are responsible for powering or trying to provide power through coal-fired stoves and utilities like that, whereas now we need to bring them into the mainstream economy and also give them an opportunity to join the larger energy project opportunities, for example, like renewable energy projects, both in South Africa and across the continent.
Yeah, and we also have solar energy as well here in
Definitely.
South Africa. Yeah.
So solar would be really key because you can have small solar lighting facilities which makes a difference to women in their rural communities, and they tend to be the people that maintain and look after this equipment. So it's key that we bring them into the mainstream, get them to join our event and to participate, looking at opportunities where they themselves can grow, upskill and access business opportunities for themselves in energy.
All right, let me just bring Chiboni into this conversation. Your company has actually partnered with the Indaba for many years, but how is it contributing towards the development and the empowerment of women, specifically in this sector?
Right, we actually have partnered with Africa Energy Indaba officially as trade association partner this year, but we have been working with them for a number of years now. The Electrotechnical Export Council actually oversees the activities in the export environment of over 100 companies in South Africa. So we're looking at taking these companies into the African continent to look at what projects exist in there. Of our membership base, we have probably 20-25% of our membership base are women-owned organizations. Okay. And we obviously, because we are partly owned by the Department of State Trade and Industry, they're one of our key stakeholders, we have got a mandate to ensure that we promote the activities of women and black-owned businesses.
But are we getting there?
We are, yes. Are we? I do believe
25%, 25 more percent to go?
I think we're in a much better space. And remember, we're in an environment where there's not very many women that play in this space. Yeah. And you often find that when we go on trade missions or looking at projects, there will be very few women in the delegation. But we're getting more and more. So we've just come back from Zambia, and we had 15 companies that we took there. I think of those 15 companies, 6 or 7 of them were women who were with us on that mission.
The sector is still male dominated. Talk
indeed.
to us about the Indaba. It will take place on the 21st until the 22nd, but there are activities leading up to the main event.
Correct. So we have focused activities looking at the development of the gas economy, specifically in South Africa, but also looking at Africa as a whole. But our focus on the gas program is very South African. We focus on the development of women in energy, as we've discussed. We also look at the development of independent power producers and power purchase agreements, because without a really good power purchase agreement, your IPP really will come to a grinding halt. So we focus on very key focus sessions. In addition, we host a ministerial meeting with African energy ministers, together with CEOs of global and African and local companies. A private forum where we discuss high-level issues, for example, what keeps energy leaders awake at night, so that we can try and get solutions to the challenges and then take those solutions and implement them on a grassroots level across the continent.
All right, ladies, that's where we are going to leave it for this morning. But thank you so much for coming through, and good luck with the conference.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much indeed. There you have it. That's Liz Hart, one of the founders of the Africa Energy Indaba, as well as Chief Executive Officer of the South African Electrotechnical Export Council, Chiboni. We're taking a break. Morning Live continues after this.